So when should they contact an immigration lawyer?
I would recommend to contact the immigration lawyer from.
So can you expound on that?
And I would like to stress is to not before contacting the lawyer.
So what are you guys gonna do? Are you gonna stay in Spain? Are you gonna go move back to the US or the Philippines?
I mean, under Spanish law, I have to say that yes. And my goal is to try to do it smooth and cheaper than it can be, because if not,
then let's do that. Hi guys, I'm Bea with Everything is Boffo, and today we are joined again by my favorite lawyer, attorney Dua El Amrani, and she was our lawyer when we applied for the citizenship by residency, and we got approved. So we're very happy to have her back on. Dua, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to be here. Nice to see you guys.
It is very good to see you. So Dua, for those who did not see yet our citizenship by residency video, please tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am Dua El Amrani. I'm a lawyer specialized in citizenship and immigration law in Spain. So I'm at the moment in Barcelona, but working overseas and trying to help everyone in this path to move to Spain and live in Spain and get their citizenship.
Perfect. And today we are going to be talking about when is the best time to contact an immigration lawyer if you are thinking of getting citizenship. In our last video, Dua received a lot of inquiries for that service. However, some of you are not yet in Spain, so you still have quite a ways to go before you start the process. So today, she will tell us when would be the best time to contact an immigration lawyer specifically for citizenship by residency. And we just have like a few questions and like the time, and we're also going to discuss the timeline of what that application looks like. So when should they contact an immigration lawyer? Like what's the best time to start that first consultation?
So the idea is if you don't have too much information on the citizenship process here in Spain, or you have some doubts related to your specific case, or if you simply are a person or someone who would like to have everything under control from the day zero, I would recommend you to get in touch with an immigration lawyer since the first moment. Why? Because this would help to avoid and anticipate any mistakes that we can make during the citizenship process. And this way you would basically be more efficient in that process. However, if everything is clear, you know more or less about this procedure and you know your specific situation, then you can start contacting your attorney once you fulfill the legally required residency period. This would be the answer.
And so the second option, like for someone who is probably already here in Spain, living in Spain, is almost done with their waiting period or residency period before they fulfill it or have done their A2 DELE test and CCSE test, correct?
Good. Yeah, then in that case, my recommendation would be to get in touch with me or their immigration lawyer 6 months more or less before fulfilling these 2 years, or if it's already fulfilled, then just go and contact me. What I recommend and I would like to stress is to not gather documents before contacting the lawyer, because I found some cases where they gathered all the documents, they translate them, apostille them, and they are nearly to expire. And then they call me and tell me, hey, I would like to submit my citizenship. And then I can realize that there's some requirements that are not fulfilled. And one of them, for example, is the one of continuous legal residency here in Spain. So it's so important to contact me before gathering the documents, first of all, because I will be the person who will explain which kind of documents you have to gather and the requirements to be fulfilled in that documents. And of course, for one important reason, which is the expiry time. These kind of documents normally get expired. So I prefer to, first of all, confirm with you that you fulfill all the legal requirements to get your citizenship, and after that, starting getting the documents. In this case, in this way, I ensure that we have a good process started perfectly from the moment zero to the end. My goal finally is to help you to save both time and money. So that's the reason I request that. And I recommend that, of course.
Can you cite me a specific example of, for example, like what you mentioned, like they would get something apostilled they don't need to, or they'd get translations for something they don't need. So I guess maybe like go into specific with that. That way they have a more concrete idea of why they need to talk to you before they do it, they do all of that.
So normally what happens, and the examples I can talk about is, for example, birth certificate that are from 1998, and they basically go and translate that document and apostille that document, thinking that it's valid. But the thing is, the birth certificate must be recent, cannot be from 1998. Depends on the country. Okay, Russia, for example, is an exception, but the rest of the country and the general idea we apply in these cases is that they expire in 6 months. So if you use an ancient birth certificate, then it won't be good for the process, so we cannot use it. And another example, for example, is that they get the documents, but they don't fulfill the requirement of legal residency and continuous residency here in Spain. For example, they go out like 10 months in 2 years. So in that cases, it's complicated, and I prefer to ensure and get more time of residency here in Spain before we start gathering the documents. So this can be the examples.
I love them. Perfect. And then, Dua, you also mentioned something about timeline. So can you expound on that?
Of course. Well, when we submit the application before the ministry, as I told you in the video we did before, the timing right now is takes from 3 months to 2 years. And I talked with the ministry; they are talking about some cases that are taking up more than 3 years, which is crazy. Exactly. So the idea is to prepare the best file ever about your citizenship. Why? Because we are basically making it easy for the officer that will review our file, and that basically gives us more chances to get our answer as soon as possible. Because if there's something that is unclear or incorrect, what will happen is that the officer will see that document and will say, okay, forget it, let's do it next year. Or basically we'll be stuck in somewhere and no one would like to see it. So the idea is this one. Right now they are answering from 3 months to 2 years. Let's go for the 3 months and let's give them the best file ever.
Perfect, which was like in our situation. So we're very happy about that. Yeah, we didn't have any back and forth with the government. We submitted, we heard from them, and that's it. So after the approval, say for example, they already have that resolution that they are approved. What are the next steps? What makes them officially Spanish?
Of course, that's a good point. What makes you officially Spanish? Because the approval doesn't make you officially Spanish. And that's something I had to explain you. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Good. So after the approval, we get the resolution. And with this resolution, we have 180 days, which is 6 months, basically, to go for the jura process. The jura process is basically a process where you swear and promise that you will fulfill and protect the Constitution, la Constitución española, the King, and the laws of Spain. And at the same moment, if it's compulsory too, and if there's no agreement between the countries, you will have to renounce to your original citizenship. So this is not the case of Filipinas, even American countries and everything. But for example, a US citizen or an Italian citizen has to renounce to his or her citizenship at that moment. Okay, you sign a document basically. It's a process that takes 20 minutes maximum. It's so fast. I think the hardest part of the jura is to get an appointment, which is sometimes crazy. Okay, normally you get the appointment in the civil registry, or you can do it through a public notary. The public notary is paying, which is a private or a fast track process, and the civil registry is the public one. But in some places, you have to wait until a year. For example, Barcelona takes a year perfectly to get that appointment. And after that, once you swear, promise, and everything, you will get your new birth certificate, a Spanish birth certificate. Will it state that you are Spanish? And with that certificate, you go to the police. You make an appointment first, because as you remember, after COVID, everything is with an appointment, okay, to get your DNA and passport with that certificate. This is so important.
So that's the steps, right? You get your resolution, you have to go do a jura process or go to the public notary, and then you will get a birth certificate. And this confuses a lot of people, like, why will you get a new birth certificate? But basically, it tells Spain and everyone in Spain that this person who was born in the Philippines is now a Spanish citizen, and these are their names. Their new names.
Exactly, the new names. It's so important, because it's at that point or 2 months later, but at that point normally that you have to decide how will be your surname and names. And as you know, the law is quite strict. So basically you will have 2 names and 2 surnames. That's all.
Yeah, you can't have 5 first names. You can't have just 1 surname. It's maximum of 2 first names and then 2 surnames.
And must be your parents' ones. Remember that. It can be your husband's one or something like this.
So after we became citizens, we also got questions like, so what are you guys gonna do? Are you gonna stay in Spain? Are you gonna go move back to the US or the Philippines? And we didn't know that if you do something like that, something can happen to the Spanish citizenship.
Exactly, Bea. As I explained to you, the thing is, no one knows that normally. Neither Spanish, but original Spanish too can lose their citizenship. So the idea is, if you go out from Spain, basically you move to another country, and during 3 years you don't use your Spanish passport, or you don't say anything, or you get another citizenship or something like this, you can lose your citizenship, your Spanish citizenship. You go to the consulate and say, hey, I want to renew my passport. And they can tell you, you lost your citizenship, Spanish citizenship. So it's really important. And my recommendation is, when you move from Spain to another country, just go, hurry up, and go to the consulate, the Spanish consulate, and say that you would like to register that as you are living there. And everything happens, like having children, getting married, or everything related to your civil status must be communicated. This way, you will know that you will keep your Spanish citizenship all the time. That's so important. Yeah. And this is just one of the cases how you can lose your citizenship. The most, I think, natural one that could happen. But there are 2 more cases that can basically make you lose your citizenship, like basically enter to a military service for another country, or you basically come a political office in a foreign country without the authorization of Spain, for example, or against Spain, or if you basically commit fraud or falsehood in the acquisition of the Spanish citizenship, for example, which is more punctual.
Yeah, good to know. So no interest in joining the military. And we hope to stay in Spain. We do love being here, but good to know to keep the Spanish authorities, I guess, informed if we do if life happens, if we need to move somewhere for a couple of years.
Exactly. Just keep them informed, and you will be able to use your passport, your DNI, and the rest of your family. Because something I'm finding with clients that are now trying to recover their citizenship is that sometimes it's quite hard. And for Spanish that they were originally Spanish, so their parents were Spanish and everything, it's more or less simple. But for someone that is Spanish because he or she got the citizenship by residency, you have to start the process from zero. So it can be more complicated. Just don't do that if you want to be Spanish.
Yeah, we'll be very careful. So, what does that mean for an American who acquires Spanish citizenship and renounces his US one? How is he treated here in Spain?
So under Spanish law, you are not anymore a U.S. citizen. You are a Spanish citizenship, 100%. Okay. However, how it affects your life as a U.S. citizen, this is ruled by U.S. laws, not Spanish.
I see. It's just that, so under Spanish law, he becomes a Spanish citizen and nothing else because there's no dual citizenship agreement with the US.
Exactly that.
And for Filipinos or for Ibero-Americans, where we didn't have to renounce it, in the eyes of Spain, we are both, correct?
Exactly. Under Spanish law, if you are Spanish getting an Filipino's citizenship, for example, or an Ibero-American citizenship, you will be always Spanish and the other citizenship you get. Or the other way around. If you are Mexican, for example, or Filipino getting the Spanish citizenship, they will respect your original citizenship and you can hold both of them. That means that you can use them freely and you will be recognized for both citizenship. However, the Filipinos law and the Mexican law will say the effects of getting another citizenship.
Yeah, so that will depend on, like, for me, the Philippine law. So I have to look up if they allow dual citizenship or not.
Exactly. They should, because there is an agreement between both countries.
Correct.
In this case.
Then after you get your DNI, which is your residency card and your passport, is that it? Or are there more steps we need to take?
There's a special step you have to take. And don't stress about it because it seems crazy, but it's not that too much. Okay. So once you obtain your DNI, the next step is to start communicating everyone you are now Spanish and you have a new number, because remember that you are losing your NIE, your number of the NIE, and you are getting a new number and it is a DNI. So I recommend you to make a list of all the institutions you are registered in and all the private entities like banks or landlords in your lease agreement or whatever, and you start communicating to each one that you have now a DNI. That's so important. I would start by Social Security, tax administration. Again, that's really, really important. And after these two, I would go to the city hall to change el empadronamiento. And DGT, if you have the driver's license. So everything you remember you are registered in, remember that you have to communicate the changes. Okay, it's so important. And in some contracts, it's compulsory. For example, with your bank institution or your landlord, if you have a lease agreement, or the company of whatever you are contracting their services. Okay, that's important. Your, of course, employment contract, you have to talk with your boss and inform them, everything, basically. Just make that list and start communicating to everyone. You don't have a timing, a concrete timing, but you have to start as soon as possible. Something that can help you with this process too is to get the Certificado de Concordancia. This document is granted by the Policía Nacional. At the moment you get your DNI, you can request it. I recommend to say it at that moment, because if not, you have to get another appointment, and you know how it works. So this certificate states basically that the person that has that NIE has this DNI right now and summarizes the situation. So it makes easier to you to communicate to everyone what happened. Okay. If you cannot get that certificate because you don't find an appointment or something happened, you can go ahead, just send in something written by you and show them your NIE, photocopy of your NIE. Just get that because you will lose the car residency physically and your DNI and start communicating. But this certificado de concordancia helps a lot to make things easier and clearer for everyone.
And I think it's more official as well, because when I tried to just show our old tarjeta de residencia and our new DNI to the bank, they said we need the certificado de concordancia. So yeah, it's more, especially for a bank, right?
Exactly. Sometimes depends on who you have in front of you, you can have problems. So this avoids you all these things. And if you get it on day one, as we said, with a proactive approach, then everything can be easier for you, of course.
That's unfortunately not the case for us, because it's a different police station that handles our certificado de concordancia. But the guy in front of us did tell us what time we should log on to the computer, so that that's when they release the appointment times. So he was able to at least tell us that, and we were able to get an appointment for the following week. So that wasn't too bad.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So Dua, thank you so much for being here. It is always a pleasure to talk to you and learning from you. Please tell us how they could find you. How can they contact you?
Thank you, Bea. It's my pleasure to be with you all the time. You can contact me basically by using the link that I'm going to share with you. You can get your appointment and have the answer to all your questions. I will be more than happy to assist you.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the notification bell. Shout out to our subscribers for always being awesome. Thanks to the people who support our channel by subscribing, commenting, giving us super thanks, and tipping us with our Buy Us a Coffee link. If you want to pick our brains and book a 60-minute consultation, we have a link for that, and we can give our honest opinions about topics that we haven't covered in our videos.
Thanks to the people in our Facebook group for being awesome members, for generously helping each other.
Okay, thank you so much, Dua. We'll talk to you soon. I can't wait for those updates.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye.